6-5, 2-1 versus Zerg. An overall good record. A lot of that from last year. He was actually kind of the carry for Incredible Miracle. And then his STX results back before then. So you see that record, it looks like, wow, damn, that's good. Well, mostly Brood War / a bit last year. 2-8 versus Life.
Yeah, interesting records there, but yeah, this guy looking to fill in where SOS could not. SOS being benched after losing 34 probes to Widowmines. And here is Life, 14-11 in Pro League 2015, and only 3-5 versus Protoss.
Yeah, not fielded a lot recently. 8-2 versus Trap. He's actually played in 4 ace matches. Surprisingly low amount.
Started ready to go.
He started the season off on Startail, don't forget. I mean, he's been through a lot.
He's taken the long road to get where he is now. In this game number 4 against Trap, the map, guys, is going to be Terraform. Let's jump into it right now here. Here in the top left in the green for the JIN Air Green Wings, the Protoss player, it is Trap.
He needs a win. His opponent to the bottom right is Life for KT Rolster today. A 3-time GSL champion. Most famous for Royal Roading and simultaneously denying MVP his 5th GSL title, meaning that he and Nesty are tied at 4 titles apiece. And, you know, ever since that particular game, MVP was almost cursed never to win another title and fell off and eventually retired from StarCraft 2.
Yeah. MVP also a guy that struggled with injuries, if I'm correct.
So a lot of Terran players, you know, Flash had surgery, Nada had injuries. The rumor has it Huashin had some injuries as well, but you know, it was like never really confirmed. A lot of these players having wrist problems.
It's just a scary thought when you think of, you know, some of these Terran players, you know, maybe Maru decides not to get surgery and he's just like, well, that's going to be it. I had my time. And then we lose one of the best Terran players we've ever had. It's just a scary thought to think of.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, StarCraft is one of the most, actually, I'd say it was the most mechanically, physically, you know, tough and, you know, I'd say injuring or like it's
dangerous.
It's not the most dangerous, but it's just the most mechanically driven, you know, finger muscle control game that exists in esports. You
mechanically demanding.
Mechanically demanding. This is not a Forge opening. I bet he wishes it was right now. Life like not even interested. He's like, LOL, nobody actually commits anymore. It's totally fake. He's like not even gonna pull a drone.
He's like, hey, look at me. One
just
drone goes
just
down
one because if there was a pile in there, he wouldn't have vision of it. But yeah, but you think about it. Like, let's talk about other top esports right now. Okay, I'd say like number 1, League of Legends, a very close second, Counter-Strike. You know, these games don't cause you to repeatedly spam, you know, sorts of keyboard combinations. You're staying on one part of the keyboard, the WASD section mostly, and, you know, 1, 2, and 3, the Q key.
And it's funny that even Counter-Strike, a game where, you know, you have giant mouse pads, you're moving around your shoulder quite a bit, it's still just not as much strain, I suppose, as StarCraft is.
Yeah. Well, it's very precise, the movements that you do. You're not jerking all around. You're not jumping from the top right of your screen to click on a building and jumping to the bottom left to the mini-map while also using both hands at the same time. There's a lot more time in Counter-Strike where you're simply just walking around. And Counter-Strike is not as long of a game necessarily. You know, it depends on the situation. You get a game like Heroes of the Storm, much more simplified MOBA. Dota as well. I'd say more complicated than, say, League of Legends, but
yeah,
still.
For a second, I'm like, be careful before you call that simplified. I'm like,
I don't mean. I wasn't going to say simplified. I meant to say just another MOBA that was out there. Over the top esports. Smash Brothers, right? Smash Bros, I would say, is like one of the closer ones to, say, Counter-Strike or StarCraft for
fighting
how much
games in general.
Yeah,
right?
Street Fighter, you know, those types of games. But I'd still say, I mean, I'm actually curious to see people tweet at me about this, what they think. I'd say Starcraft's probably the most like mechanically driven, like possibly harmful potentially to your body game that exists.
For sure. I mean, if anyone else has any ideas for something we missed, definitely tweet at us. I'm at Brendan Valdez. He's at Proxy Wolf,
yes.
right? For some reason, I can never remember your Twitter
account. I know,
account.
it's like you tweet at me all the time. We both like look at each other's Twitters all the time, but somehow you can never remember me.
It's because you have a bunch of other ones, like your Twitch is Wolf Schroeder, right?
Yeah, Wolf_Schroeder. I'm like, let's plug all my things while you confirm this. Nah, it's going to be a big Ling attack here, it actually looks like. Or no, he's just making 8 Lings.
Yeah, maybe he's
this is
not
weird.
Exactly sure. We've been talking about, you know, the most physically demanding esports so far, but...
Well, I think he's trying to stop a super fast third base. I guess that's the idea here, but...
Well, I think he would have wanted a lot more Lings with speed a bit earlier. Maybe he's just, like, not so sure exactly what Trap is doing so far, and he's even going to lose his Overlord here. But I think it did scout, like, no third and fourth gases just yet.
And no tech, so I think he's expecting it's a fast third. He's going to make some safety spores. But 12 Lings... actually canceled some of those Lings, I believe. I'm pretty sure I counted right. It was going up to 12, but it actually stopped at 8. Started some drones instead.
Yeah, now just making 2 spores. He's really just not sure what's going on in the base of Trap right now. And the 2 gateways from Trap are all the way in the back, so I don't think he's ever going to see it. But at this point, I think he can reasonably assume that their base is coming down.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is there isn't anything coming for Trap. He doesn't have oracles, he doesn't have anything. It's clearly going to be a third base. At this point, he knows for sure. And he wants to get these next wave of Lings out with speed to deny it, but already there's a lot of sentries. He's going to be able to get up here on the high ground. And in total now there's a 4th sentry. Most of these sentries having 2 force fields already. So I think he's got like 6 force fields available right now. 2 more sentries coming in.
Trap's got to be very careful with where he has his units right now. It's not an overwhelming number of Lings, but it is 18 with speed. You cannot get those sentries out of position. Looks like he's going to lose a Stalker here.
This is a risky choice for life as well, though, but he will get it. No force fields being committed to. This cannon is not ready, but it's partially walled. I don't think that life can actually commit to that. Just wants to leave.
Yeah, just finding a bit of damage, doing what life does, known for his Ling control. And
starting 11 drones to make up for the Lings he made. And, you know, spinning all that larva on a different path.
Ooh, Spire coming down. What do you think about this?
Well, I think he's trying to surprise him. He's committed so much to sentries. He doesn't have a massive anti-air army. No Stalkers. Like, actually, 0 Stalkers. The only Stalker he made was killed by those Lings. Huh. Well, Blink is on the way very early here. I think he's going to go for a Blink +2, sort of not timing, but pressure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be Lings with upgrades, too.
Yeah, a lot of Lings he's making right now to defend this this pressure right now that's coming out with all these sentries. Going up to 44.
Terraform is a cool map for this kind of muta play. There's a lot of dead air up near that main, and usually it's kind of hard to get a bunch of scouting over there as well. He actually misses the Spire coming down with that hallucinated Phoenix.
Yeah, you know, as I was checking the vision of that, I heard Kanata saying if he sees this many Lings, though, he might be able to assume, you know, that something like this is going on because he did see all those Lings, a ton of them. And he's got his sentries in good position here. Attacking with these straight-up pure Lings here could be a terrible choice if the force fields are good.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to overcommit. Well, as I say that, a couple of force fields coming down. But
if there was a third one in between that geyser and the wall, that would have been disastrous.
It really would have been.
What he's going to do with these Lings, of course, try to force out a few more Zealots, maybe even some more sentries.
And burn some of those force fields as well.
Yeah. Okay, sees a Spire now.
16 mutas coming out. 16.
Cannons?
And, yeah.
2 of them. I think it's time for a Temple Archives. Throw that bad boy up because 3 cannons and 11 Stalkers. It's going to be tough to split those between 3 bases.
Maybe he's not expecting a giant commitment to mutas, but he is putting down a Stargate now. And maybe he's just going to try to hold on Blink here until he can get out enough Phoenixes, but this is going to be a very overwhelming amount. They're going to come straight into the main. I think he's only got, well, he's got about 8, 9 Stalkers now with +1.
Should be enough, but he's not reacting immediately here. Going to cost him a pro, but there's the reaction. He almost has enough mutas to fight this, but just not quite. Now what's the follow-up going to be? He's getting +1 for the mutas. Just more and more links coming out with all that extra minerals. He's getting the gold base too, so even more extra minerals coming in here. Looks like he might transition into Infestors. Blinding Cloud also on Vipers, another follow-up to this. That's the potential is there. But Infestors would be good against a large amount of Blink Stalkers that are trying to counter the mutas.
Maybe he'll eventually transition to a Hive and Ultras as well. Gonna straight up fight this here. Kind of interesting with this many sentries, your Zerglings are not going to be able to get in, but...
Yeah, but he's just trying to see, like, that Force Field kind of blocks the Stalkers, and he's just trying to outmaneuver this Protoss army and buy himself more time to get that, you know, the greater tech out. Most likely the Hive tech into Ultras, as you mentioned, especially with the +2 coming out for these Lings. Infestors too, though, coming up. So he's going to get Passaging Glands. And I like the Infestor choice. I think it's really good, especially with this many Lings, to fight this composition.
Yeah. If you can get Fungals on, you know, even just a majority of those Blink Stalkers, and you have your Ultras out in time and you're not being pressured, you can get out your composition. As long as you take a good fight on your terms, it's a really nice composition to have. 8 Infestors going to be made.
I think 14 cannons in total for Trap. Sometimes
14? What?
Sometimes
Really?
when you see that, yeah. Sometimes when you see that, it means that Trap is going to go for like a base trade, and he's like, I don't care. Yeah, I think we're going to see that. Look at this. Fleet Beacon, he's just going to try to get ranged Phoenixes out while he's aggressive, and he's just going to let these cannons do the defense at home. He's not moving across the map, though. I mean, maybe he's just being insanely safe, but he doesn't have a 4th base. Trying to go into Fleet Beacon and 14 cannons, make that 15 cannons, the last one coming down here. That's a lot of money. I mean, I don't even want to try to do the calculation of how much money that is.
It's going to be interesting. Generally, you don't want to be too safe against a guy who's ultra aggressive like Life, because if he smells something in the water, he doesn't even have to kill you. You could just take a 5th base like he's doing now, get out the necessary tech to defeat you. He's going to outmaneuver you if you let him. And he's attempting to do that now. We're going to see Neural Parasite being started researched once again. We see this from time to time. Usually it doesn't pan out. But...
I mean, you must have seen this more recently than I have, because I wouldn't even say that we see this time to time. I mean,
time to time, it comes out, but they never use it. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, I've never seen it used. Okay, we're going to see massive Fungals on these probes, and not the Stalkers, but you know what? That's a lot of probe kills.
6 of them going to go down for now. Going to delay some mining, trading out some units.
Killing the Mothership Core.
Ooh, very nice.
The Neurals can be great against Archons, you know, but we don't even have any Archons here.
Look at how many Phoenixes are out in the map
now he gets caught. Okay, he needs to Fungal after those fall, and there he goes.
Big Fungals, and he's going to catch every single Phoenix here. But look at how many Blink Stalkers are on the ground.
Where
They've
are the
got
Lings?
+2.
Yeah, where are the Lings? They must have lost a lot of them, but there's a few more coming across the map right now.
Oh, man.
This ends up being like a kind of even-ish trade, even though now Trap is super down in supply. The question is, can he identify these Ultras? The Ultra Switch is really scary here.
No, it looks like he's going to try to jump onto Life here. He's got those cannons back at home to defend, as you were saying. And if he can get on top of the army before those Ultras come out, or if he can catch them one by one as they pop, well, it looks like he's just going to back off now. Wants to protect the 4th base. Also not a terrible idea.
That base goes down without a cancel. Wow. A lot more drones going down over here, meanwhile. Queen trying to protect her turf.
Oh, look at this. Adrenal Glands finishes, and there's no block at the front. Gigantic wave.
Oh, that Archon block. So
Whoa.
clutch. So many cannons there, too. So the Lings that got through got dealt with. His Lings are just pretty terrible in the late game, even with Adrenal Glands.
You need to just be even, like, trading them out. Well, he's actually just going to make 50 more.
I think he's just trying to buy time with them. Had they gotten into the bases, too, they could have done a lot. But there are a grand total of 0 Immortals on the map to deal with these Ultras. If he gets a Neural on that Archon as well, it's going to be bad news. A lot of cannons, though, in a tight wall here. That Sentry's not good against Ultras. I'm a bit surprised to warp that one in.
You know, Trap's put himself into a position where he can't be broken for now, but he's going to be on 3 base for so long.
And the Broodlord transition is going to be a big problem if that goes on for much longer.
Fungals and Blinding Clouds on nearly every single Stalker.
Yep. No Neural Parasite required here, but the Ultras still can't get through, which is kind of hilarious. Now come the Phoenixes from behind to try to catch some of these Infestors.
Yeah, one Blinding Clouds finish up.
Yeah, one Archon blocking those Ultras out, and he's just not able to find any surface area here. He's massively ahead in supply because there's a bank to Remax. adding 40 Lings, 6 more Corruptors, even adding additional Queens for transfuses. The Broodlords are going to be scary. He still has to deal with the Stalker army and the Phoenixes, though, before that can actually be what he really wants. But the big issue is always going to be that there's no 4th base for Trap. He's making one right now. Let's see if he can actually keep it.
As long as Life can, you know, keep alive most of his army here and not go down to the counterattack at any time, he's really pulling the composition of Trap all around the place. He's going to be making a bunch of Immortals here. He actually only has 1, but he's making 2 at a time right now. And there's going to be a big switch into Broodlords, which I don't think Trap is going to be ready for.
He doesn't have a second Star... Okay, no, he does have a second Stargate. He has a Fleet Beacon, so...
But he needs to be getting it out, like, right now.
Exactly. It's like he has the tools, but he doesn't have the machinery. I don't know if that makes any sense. He's got the Stargates, he's got the Fleet Beacon, but he doesn't have the Tempest, okay? Maybe just put it back into Starcraft terms.
Yeah.
He needs those. The timing is off. You know, he's a bit too late on those.
Imagine how much work these Immortals are going to be doing when they can't shoot up against the Broodlords.
Also, imagine how great it would be to have a 4th base right now that he still doesn't have, because the bottom left is denied, and also there's a Bird Zergling there.
Bird Zergling on the base location, then a bunch there to cancel it if it does try to get up. Finally, Tempest are coming out. He has spotted it, but Life is going to move in now. I think he realizes that he can't give Trap much time here.
I think this is good once the Lings are spotted here to actually try to trade out a few Stalkers, making the Broodlords a bit stronger. Uh-oh, Phoenix is finding some of these Vipers. He's going to get 2. And actually doing a little bit of damage to the Broodlords as well. No support with those Infestors, a bit odd.
Yeah, there's only 2 Corruptors on the map. It's because he's maxed out right now. He needs to trade out some of his units and make some Corruptors.
Yeah, adding a few more now. Here comes the Fungals. He wants to save the majority of his Fungals for the Stalkers to make sure they can't get on top of his Broodlords. He has 6 Queens right now. Could be more. We see a Mothership on the way.
Ooh.
And that means, of course, the cloaking on the army. Something he can utilize. Uh-oh, Broodlord's getting caught out again. Man, in the late game, the control from Trap is just ending up being much better than Life's right now.
Yeah, I would almost say that it's the not amazing control out of Trap. I mean, he's being very active with these Phoenixes for sure, but like Trap, Life kind of, I see this sometimes out of him. When he gets very far ahead, he's kind of just like, I won. And he just plays nonchalant and kind of just goes through the motions.
Yeah,
it's never where you want to be.
Totally see what you mean. We've definitely seen that from him before. Spine's finishing just in time to deny these poor little Zealots. +3 Carapace just now being added for the Broodlings. Ultras, of course, the Lings as well.
What about the flyer upgrades? Can you check for me?
+1 only.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like, you're very far ahead, so get further ahead. Like, make 2 Spires, get all your upgrades out, get the perfect composition, be trading your army units early so that you can try to punish Trap once again for this 4th base.
There are already 6 Tempests on the map, 10 Corruptors, only 2 Vipers. 2 Phoenixes left alive, so getting rid of those Vipers is going to be a challenge with Broodlords. He's probably never going to be able to feed back those. But I do like the composition Life has built. He's got a lot of Queens for transfuses. In fact, I think bringing all of them with this army, all 6 are with the army. He doesn't need a lot of larva right now. He's already got 24 on the bank, and they'll regen him pretty quick.
Yeah, it does seem like Life has eventually done what I was talking about here, and he is going to be looking to siege the bases now with these Broodlords, try to force Trap out here. Maybe look for a pull on that Mothership.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. Because he can't do anything to these Tempests without vision. And so he needs Overseers, which he doesn't have with this army. And he also needs Fungals. I mean, that's another way to deal with this. These Stalkers are exposed, and down goes some good Blinding Clouds. And there's the Overseers coming in. Gets a few Tempests here, but this wall is a big problem for the Ultras. This is a terrible engagement. Life should not be staying here.
Huge storms going down on all of the Corruptors in the sky, and once those run out, Trap will be able to deal with those Broodlords.
He's going for the Mothership, but he's not going to get it, I don't think. Might barely get it.
Finally, an Overseer's coming in here, but is there even anything to kill the Mothership now?
There's not. It went down to like 0 health. There it goes.
Yeah, the
but now he
Queen's
can just
dealing
blink
with it.
underneath these. Now Life is remaxing with 9 Ultralists, 10 Corruptors. There's finally a 4th base up for Trap. I feel like the 4th base, if he had killed this instead, it might have been a better move. Because if he killed that, he would have killed it probably for free. The Tempests are slow. They're out of position. This leads me to believe, you know, going back to what you were saying, that Life thinks he's won the game, and he doesn't even think there's a 4th base down there. He eliminated it so many times. Let me check the Ultra or the Immortal count. He's got 3 Immortals versus the 9 Ultras that are about to pop out. Only 8 Stalkers, but 7 Tempests. Makes zoning, getting in there, so much more difficult. Here comes some DTs.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go for the main, interestingly enough.
Maybe want to kill some tech.
Ooh, going for that natural, in fact. Gonna snipe out that Spore Crawler and then get to work.
He walked right by a base with no detection, funny as it is. Going for the Greater Spire.
Ooh, that's going to be really nice. That is going to be really, really nice.
Which means he can focus on the defense of the Ultras. And Life only has 1 Spire, as you mentioned before. Okay, good fumbles on these Immortals, though.
Oh, Trap getting hugely caught out, and a lot of Corruptors in the sky now. Corruption going down on a lot of these Tempests. Not much support for them, as a ton of units went down early on.
Pulling now into those Queens and Corruptors. And this is a really bad engagement for Trap. He doesn't have very many cannons here. The cannon he's got to the north is unpowered. It's a nice gateway wall, but it doesn't matter. Corruptors can fly.
Well said.
I mean, it's great for the ground army, but his Tempest can't survive here. So it looks like Trap is going to end up losing this game regardless.
Yeah, just barely. Life just getting way too far ahead. Eventually taking a very nice engagement there after many not so great engagements. Not able to kill Trap up until this point.
This makes it really sad just simply because Trap was very consistently using his oracles to spot the army, but the one time he wasn't, if he was on top of that high ground, this would have been a totally different story, totally different game. But because he wasn't, he loses his Immortals. They get bungled, and that's game. 28 supply left. He's going to have to type out. Jin Air is not going to the round 4 playoffs. See you next time.
Trap looking dejected in that booth. He knows he's lost the game, of course, but looks like he's about to cry. GG.
GG.
Huge loss to take for him for sure, but Life securing it there, forcing no ace match to even come into the minds of Jin Air. Life playing a very nice, long, drawn-out game there to eventually take out Trap.
Not a perfect, game there by Life, but good enough. Showing he's definitely the better player overall. And stats, not stats, Trap, just having a few issues with his positioning of his units. Taking a 4th base was something it took him forever to do.
Yeah. Life actually tearing up a bit. That was a long game, keep in mind. I'm sure he was staring down his monitor. But nonetheless, we'll get that win. We've seen from time to time, Life doesn't have the best late game out of all the different Zergs, but I think he was just too far ahead.
Yeah.
Trap played extremely defensively on those 3 bases, and I feel like the Spire Tech, the mutas, actually forced him into that situation and allowed Life to take that very big 2-player map of Terraform. It was a very nice map control-y kind of game, and just aggressive, like harassy style from Life. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Now, Jin Air Green Wings, still at this moment in time before the playoffs, are in third place in overall points. So there's still a good chance they'll make it to the grand playoffs, the grand finals. But they're definitely not going to get any bonus points here in round 4. KT Roaster winning with Zest, Flash, and Life today. And, that puts Life way up there in the wins. Is that 20, I believe it is now? Him and Zest?
For Zest, yeah. Zest up there at 20. Hero still at 19.
And Life
at 15.
Okay. He has a gold logo on him there, so I was like, I don't think he had that many wins, but
yeah,
maybe a mistake there. But anyways, this puts KT Roaster in 5th place, but they can still move on, whereas Jin Air at 2 and 4 at -5 will not be able to do so. Now, KT Roaster's advancement will depend on CJ, Samsung, and Spenu's results. CJ will be playing tomorrow, and we'll have 1 more week of matches. We'll talk to you guys about exactly what has to happen for certain results to occur when we get there next week. That
last week is always fun to try to theory craft and see where these players are going to end up. Innovation taking 2 wins today, goes up to 15 and 4 from 13 and 4. Sue also winning today.
Life down there at 15, but moves up 2 spots to 5th place. And this puts, after today's loss for Jin Air, both Prime and Jin Air, the only 2 teams that will not be eligible for making it to the playoffs. If you have 4 wins, it's not going to, or 4 losses, you're ineligible, and that's where they're at. Prime is 0 and 5, and Jin Air now at 2 and 4.